It's time for my fighter of the cards for last month, which was May. And a chance as well to talk about some of the things in the world of mixed martial arts. The main thing this month has been about the sponsorship thing, and do you know, I don't really understand it. I think they're trying to limit the sponsors, or the clothing sponsors or something. I know that there's been a big deal made with Reebok and I don't quite understand what it is, but I shall get back to my thoughts. I shall get back to you on my thoughts about that next month, I think. This month I want to be brief. So there were 4 events, and the first one here was UFC Fight Night 65, and for want of a better person to award this to, I'm going to award it to Stipe Miocic, who was the main event, and he defeated Mark Hunt. I was not best impressed with this card. That was, I believe, what I said at the time, to be honest. So there we are. That was one of the Australian events. Anyway, moving on from that, the next one was Fight Night 66. This was Edgar and Faber, and there are a few things to discuss on this. Frankie Edgar managed to win his bout. It was a decision victory, and he looked much better than I thought he would. Uriah Faber has blamed ring rust, basically, for why he didn't win. Not sure I agree with that, because one of the things that I said in my original predictions video was that he does very, very well until he's fighting top tier of UFC mainstream. Gegard Mousasi also won, but it was again a decision, and it was a decision card really for most of that. My fighter of the card is going to be John Tuck. He won his match by a submission, and I thought he did really well, so he is going to be my fighter of the card for that one. That was the one that was in the Philippines. The next match was UFC 187. Now, the thing about this is that it's all a bit of a joke that Daniel Cormier has ended up being the champion of the middleweight division. He fought against John Jones and he lost. John Jones subsequently ended up in hot water and was stripped of the title. Daniel Cormier gets the call to fight a second time, and this time he happens to win. He got a submission victory over Anthony Johnson, which I have to admit I was a little bit surprised at. I didn't see that one coming. I don't think Anthony Johnson did either. But there you are. It's just ironic now, because he has not beaten the champion. He has been one of these people who's got very, very lucky in getting that, and he has absolutely no qualms about giving it the mouth. He was giving it the mouth before he won. The UFC have actually said that when John Jones returns, he will be able to get pretty much an instant rematch. Of course, that's depending on the time, offshore. And I think it also depends on who else has been around by that time. We start off with Daniel Cormier as champion. Is he illegitimate? He is, well, I would say he was very, very lucky in getting it. And I hope, personally, that his reign is not too long, because I think the next person to win the belt, or if he is to defend it, he has to now do it exceptionally, really, to qualify for not being a poor man's John Jones, really. And the next person, should they win it, it will be more of a legitimate handover. But the institution made the right call in, getting rid of John Jones. So, it's a bit of a joke, but the UFC has made plenty of jokes with titles before. At least this one stems from them reacting properly to a situation. Chris Weidman also won against Vitor Belfort. I said he probably would. But my fighter of the card is going to be Donald Cerrone, who beat John McDessie. I don't actually find that a shock, but Donald Cerrone has just done so well this year. I mean, this is probably the third or fourth time that he's fought this year. We're only halfway through, and I think he's won them all. He's been on the top card for them all, and he's done very, very, very well. And each time he seems to get missed out of my fighter of the card because there's just somebody that's slightly more exciting or slightly better. So this time, sort of as a culmination of all of that really, I'm giving him the fighter of the card award, and you can expect, even if he doesn't get nominated again, that he will at least be one of the top contenders to get to the second round of the fighter of the year. The only other thing to say about this card, which was quite a good card, was that Andrei Arlovsky actually won. So perhaps I should eat my words about him being past it. And John Moraga sort of failed really to show that he's actually the very top class, because he didn't beat Joseph Benavidez, but it was a decision loss. So there you are. Uriah Hall also was defeated, as was Mike Pyle. Surprised by the latter, not surprised by the former. He was a big thing in Tough, didn't do so well, still isn't doing so well, but it was a split decision loss, I suppose. Moving on to the last one then, and there can really be only one person for this. The top of the card was the welterweight fight between Carlos Condit and Thiago Alves, and I said that this was to see if Thiago Alves could hang not just in the division, which he's proved now after coming back, but top contender. And it's still, the jury's still out on that, I think, because of just how well he fought. You know, he lost the match, it was a doctor stoppage, and it was a legitimate in that, but he did show amazing heart, he did do extremely well. Carlos Condit was just on a completely different level, and he's obviously now one of these people who is going to be considered contender yet again for the title at that division. So he is going to get my fighter of the card for that. Quite surprised that most of the guys that I picked failed on this. This includes Nick Lentz and KJ Noons, both of which were stopped by submission. Ryan Jimmo, although he doesn't like fat people, so perhaps this is karma for that, I don't know. And the only other thing to say is well done to Tom Breeze, who did win, right at the bottom of the card. Didn't know him at the time, know him a little bit better now. We've connected on Facebook, it means everything. So there we are, that's it for this month. We've already had an event this month, so that will be, you know, in next month's fighter of the card, and that's it.